Hey guys, this is your very own plant mom Vitali here, and today we are talking about Spatifilum, also known as the peace lily. So one of my friend who owns a garden center recently told me that the most gifted plant during this Diwali 2022 was the peace lily. And why is it so famous, and why do people love it, and why is it called as the beginner's house plant as well? So let's get ahead in the video where I tell you all the details about one of my favorite plants, the peace lily. So as you know, I always tell you to study where the plant comes from. So the peace lily, also known as the Spatifilum, is a part of the aroid family. And if you have seen peace lily in its blooming stage, you know that it shoots out these white flowers, which of course don't have any fragrance at all, but they are the ones which attract us to buy these peace lilies. So whenever we buy them from the market, we see that they have one or two blooms and we get them home, and then this is what happens to it. But don't worry, this is one of my favorite peace lily plants, and it was just a small cutting and a big plant emerged out of it. How did I do it? So the origin of this plant is in the Central and the South America, and what is the kind of climate there? A tropical climate. So I am blessed to have a tropical climate in Bombay, and hence peace lily really rapidly multiplies where I stay. It likes bright indirect sunlight, and it can also tolerate a little bit of shade, but you cannot place it in a very dark area, or you cannot keep it in your bathrooms and stuff like that. It needs light to survive. Now, in terms of watering, peace lily is one of the easiest plants, because as soon as this plant is stressed, this is how the peace lily looks like. So right now I am going to give my peace lily a little bit of a drink, and let's see what happens to the peace lily after that, and I'll tell you how to water this peace lily, which is the easiest. This is exactly the reason why peace lily is called as a beginner's favorite house plant, because as soon as it needs a bit of water, it needs a drink, it shows signs of its leaves dripping out like this. Does it mean that my peace lily is going to die on me? Absolutely not. Now I am just going to water this peace lily, and by the end of this video you will see that the plant is hale and hearty. How do you water this plant? Normally we water the plant till it begins to ooze out from the bottom, and hence I've kept this tray as well. It's already started, but because there are 2-3 shoots here, I'm making sure that all the roots get enough water. Yeah. So right now I have given my peace lily Spatifilum a drink, and I will give it around half an hour to again get back to its glory. How much do you water this plant? As soon as the plant starts showing these signs of droopiness, you water it, and that's why it's very easy to water peace lilies. I have spoken about the light conditions. I have shown you how much water a peace lily needs, but one thing is that now this tray is full of water, and the water is also collecting at the bottom. Now I have done this mistake of keeping peace lilies in water for too long, and their roots have rotten. So just give it a drink. If you have a tray like this, empty the tray out, and your peace lily will be happy, hale and hearty, and it will also produce some blooms whenever the season arrives. What kind of soil does peace lily like? Now, again going back to the roots of peace lily is in the family of aroids, that is, it is in the family of Monstera and most of the philodendrons. So it likes a light and an airy, moisture rich kind of a soil. So what do you add? You add normal clay soil, you add a little bit of cocoa peat, just 10%, 60% clay soil, 10% cocoa peat, 10% perlite or vermiculite, and then you add compost. Now one tip I would like to give in terms of adding compost is that always add compost to the top of the mixture. That is, whenever you've prepared the soil mixture and put the plant in it, and after that you add compost just on the top like a fertilizer, and do not mix it in your soil, because compost still has some fresh bacteria, some fresh kiras in it, and that can lead to root rot. Hence, this is a special pro tip for people who compost and people who add compost as a fertilizer to all their plants. Many of my friends have told me that your peace lilies look picture perfect, but why do ours look like this? Guys, I also make mistakes, and these are plants after all, so they will sometimes wither away. It is our duty as a gardener to keep them properly and to basically understand what is going wrong with them. So let me first start with this plant, and then I will go to the deadlier one which has been neglected. Now, if you look at this plant, what has happened is some of its leaves are browning and some of them are actually dead because of the season these days. You have to study the nature closely to know which season it is. If you go outside and see that many leaves of normal trees are falling, then it's okay that your leaves fall too. It's not your mistake. It's just the season of the plant, the nature's way. Now, let me examine this plant for any pests. So I will dig up the topsoil to see. This has been watered. So let's just cut out all the parts which are not doing that well. Now what happens is, when you cut out these parts which are not doing well, the plant senses that its bad parts are cut, and it doesn't send any energy towards maintaining these dead leaves or dead shoots. Otherwise, the plant just spends all its energy in repairing the dead shoots, and hence the plant doesn't grow well. So whenever you see any browning of the leaves, make sure that you cut off the peace lily with the stem. And some browning tips can be cut like this as well. You need not cut the whole plant, otherwise the plant will look very barren and you'll be very sad. But see, now this leaf is completely exhausted. So I'm going to get down and just cut the stem part. And you can just cut half of the stem, and after the stem dries, it will just come out like this, like I'm showing you. It comes out very easily. Now I'm just cleaning this plant up. I do not see any signs of pests or insects biting the plant or something like that. Hence, what this plant needs is a little bit of care, and it has to be placed in a little darker area than where it was. And this plant is hale and hearty. We can add a little bit of compost, and this peace lily will be back to its normal shape within no time. Now, if your peace lily looks like this and it's completely withering away, I would try to save this plant by examining its root structure. So let's get ahead and pull the plant out of the pot. Now I'm going to take a tray here, because otherwise all the soil will come out. Do not pull the plant like you're lifting a dumbbell, because you have to be gentle with its roots. If the roots are damaged, then there is no way that this plant is going to survive. Now this plant is coming out easily, hence I am just tilting the plant, and yes. Now let's examine what has happened in its roots. Studying the root structure of the plant will give you a better idea of, is this plant worth saving or not? Now if you see the root structure, this peace lily has a good root structure. What went wrong is, I think it was kept in a place which received a lot of sunlight. So now what can we do with this plant? It's fairly simple. We just let the roots be, and all these have to go. Very sad to do this, but it has to be done. Now I'm going to examine ahead and see if the stems have any kind of infection. It doesn't. So I'm just going to let it be. and cut out all the dry parts because these are anyways going to dry and new shoots are going to come. But this peace lily will be up and it won't wither away forever, okay, because of its root structure. Now what we have to do is put it back in the pot. And cover it up with soil. You can also add dead leaves in it, which is peace lily's dead leaves itself, because what do dead leaves have? Dead leaves have carbon, which is really important for plants. Why is carbon important for plants? Because plants inhale carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. These are some simple tips which our science teacher in our first standard taught us, but as we grew up, we forgot it along the way. Okay, I'm not doing anything much, and I also noticed that there are some kidas here which might have done the job of chewing up its leaves and making it rot. I'm just going to add a little bit of soil. And if you're not following me on Instagram, do follow me on Instagram, because here I've shown you that this peace lily is gone, and after a few days I'll be sharing my updates via Instagram of how this peace lily is blooming. You can completely cover it up with soil, no problem. Or you can also show some of the shoots and write it down that this is a propagation of peace lily. Otherwise you might forget if you have a lot of plants like me. So this is done. I am now watering it. After repotting a plant, make sure to give it water. Yes, till it comes out of this. That's it. That is how you revive a peace lily. So you immediately saw the difference between the way my plant looked at the beginning of this video and already what has happened to my peace lily. Isn't it beautiful? These are the simple things that I like about these plants. So how did you like this video on a peace lily special? I have spoken at length about how to revive a peace lily, even shown you how to know distress signals of your peace lily. I've also shared the basic details of watering, sunlight, fertilization, and one thing that is remaining is the propagation. You can propagate a peace lily by dividing its roots. So there is no way that you can just pluck out the stem and the peace lily will get rooted. You'll have to divide the roots and then propagate the peace lily. So how did you like this video on a peace lily or Spatifilum? These points also apply to other aroids, as the care of the general species is similar. So how was my Connect with Your Plant series on the Peace Lily special, the most gifted plant during Diwali 2022? Let me know in the comment section below, and do share it with your friends who are plant enthusiasts as well, and subscribe, because that is how our channel will keep on glowing and growing.